And Sue is here to debate her arguments with blogger and mother of two, Jojo Fraser. Sue, what would the benefits be, primarily for children, obviously?
Well, what you see in countries that have a kindergarten stage between 3 and 6 or 7 is higher levels of childhood well-being and also generally better success in education. And less of we have a very big problem in Scotland with an attainment gap between rich and poor, which is essentially a developmental gap. So the longer you've got to concentrate on children's development and well-being, which is what a kindergarten stage is for, the more chance you have of a level educational playing field, which is better for all children.
Jojo, what problems do you see with a kind of kindergarten idea?
Well, I just think, first of all, my daughter went to school when she was 5, my son was 4, and they were so excited, they were so ready for it. I genuinely believe that. And I often think if adults had the same enthusiasm as 4 and 5-year-olds, it's such a magic age, the world would be such a better place. But I like the fact that primary 1, it was learning through play, but the teachers weren't being too thorough. You know, it was very gentle with, like, you know, writing in their jotters. My kids thrived on the independence of that. They were ready at 4 and 5 for a routine. They were ready for more structure. And it wasn't something that they found stressful. They really enjoyed, just because, as I say, mostly, I mean, my mum was a teacher for many, many years, and it was always primary 1, we learn through play. And we know research shows that adults and children learn best through play. And I think they still get that opportunity. Even in primary 3, there was a sand sort of tray and a water tray in my son's class. And I thought that was really good. You know, they've got the balance right.
Sue, you were a head teacher, weren't you? So you must recognise some of that.
I recognise that children, when they're 4 and 5, loved learning through play, and that they're better engaged in a less stressful atmosphere. But it's very much a postcode lottery, and it's also to do with the sorts of experiences children have had before school. And Jojo's obviously had a literacy-rich environment in which they felt supported and ready to read, which is very different from other children who haven't had those advantages. So it's not a question of saying we'd hold Jojo's children back, but what we're saying is the focus wouldn't be on reading, writing and reckoning in P1, which unfortunately at the moment it is. So for those children who are not developmentally ready and who need more time to develop their spoken language, their communication skills, I'm afraid they are very much disadvantaged, and we end up with some children being able to sort of scoot through school and many others who have a very unhappy experience of it. The problem is that if we push children who aren't ready too soon, we cause issues for them, emotional issues, and they don't get the time to develop all the skills and capacities which they can naturally develop in a kindergarten stage.
Jojo, do you feel it would have held your kids back?
No, do you know, I think what I've really seen from teachers, they're amazing, is that they take each child on a case-by-case basis. So our son was actually put into, because he was one of the youngest in his class, in a composite class. And we were quite concerned at first, but then sort of chatting to the parents, the teachers and other parents, they really do take each child and they, you know, they nurture them and they see them. I
do wish, Jojo, that the teachers that I know who are so bothered that they have to ensure that all children are progressing in literacy and numeracy because of the demands from the local authority were here to speak. And I'm very, very pleased that your child got a wonderful experience. We want all children to have that opportunity for a wonderful experience.
Okay, let Jojo finish her point then.
Yes, I will, sorry.
I was just going to say as well, having gone through what we have the past 2 years, I would much rather time and funds were put into the well-being for the pupils of, you know, all ages, and for the teachers as well. You know, we can't forget what we've been through, and I think investing the time into that and seeing children, because it's not just about maths and English, it's about well-being. That's now the first part of the kids' report that I check is their well-being. That's what I'm interested in before writing and how they're doing. And that's how I measure success initially, is how is their well-being? How are their social skills? How comfortable do they feel going into school? And really actually looking at it from a more holistic point of view as well. And I think that's only going to get more as the studies show that the children that seem to do better in the future have great emotional intelligence and high levels of well-being.
There's an element of agreement there. I think there's an element of agreement between you.
I couldn't disagree.
Very briefly, Sue, do you think there's any prospect of this happening anytime soon?
I am very hopeful for it because we're seeing policymakers and well, certainly the members of the Scottish National Party voted overwhelmingly for a kindergarten stage a week last Sunday, and last Sunday the Scottish Green Party voted to put that into their policy too. So there really is beginning to be a recognition that it's not normal to start children in school. We should be, as Jojo says, concentrating on well-being and child development until they're at least 6.
Jojo, your kids are now at school, but do you see this changing in the near future at all?
Oh, well, hopefully not. I also think for parents and the well-being of parents, a lot of parents are ready when it gets to 4 or 5 for their children to get into school.
That's a whole different discussion. That's for another night, I think. But Sue,
There'd
Jojo,
be no change to that.
Thank you both for joining us in Scotland tonight.